What's up?
Do you even know who's playing today? Do you even know any of these people? Are they too young
You're
for
playing
you?
today. Hey, but Nomad's ban first though.
Moving
Nomad
on.
on Kafe is it's a usual ban, occasional ban, because you saw how powerful Nomad last game was. Because bam, those Nomad air jabs on every single stairway. It's not possible to try to roam clear or try to come back in a roam or a flank later on as a defender.
Yeah, Nomad has been a permaban on Consulate and Coastline for quite a long time, but of all the other maps, Kafe is a map where she seems to be banned. I would say fairly often, but if any of those remaining 5, Kafe seems to be the one. Thatcher as well. Talked a little bit about the lack of a Thatcher ban, but depending on which half you watched, you might have felt like there was a Thatcher ban on the board. But now on Kafe, Thatcher is not. They'll have to rely on the Maverick to cut through that hard destruction. The Valkyrie as well, another operator that was banned in the previous Kafe match we just watched, and is banned in pretty much every match you will watch in CL going forward.
And it's Mirror. No, it's Mute actually. Okay, this is definitely different. Not very often do we see a mute ban. I think, have I ever seen a mute ban? Maybe
I have, but they're uncommon. They're not uncommon,
very
especially for
uncommon
how
to see a
powerful he
mute
is.
ban. In this instance, at least Mirror available too. Especially with Thatcher off the board, it makes destroying mirrors very difficult. Black mirrors usually, if you have a Thatcher on board, usually can destroy some of the that ability to stop it from being destroyed. But otherwise, now it's like if you have a mirror available, destroying it from below is your only option. And on Kafe, that's that depends on what's going on with the roam game. Let's see what happens first. We got Aqualix on defense. They're starting out here on reading and Fireplace to start us off. And let's see what's going on. Oh, my bad. But anyway, let's see us off. And Flores. We haven't seen Flores has been banned a lot lately. And I've not seen Flores play.
No, we've not seen Flores banned. Sorry, we've seen him banned. We have not seen him played all that often. We just saw him banned on Kafe, so we'll see if he is truly the oppressive presence that he is sometimes hyped up to be, depending on certain maps. So at the very least, Livid can utilize him to the fullest extent possible. 2 Goyos on the board, no mute as well. Looks like Livid wanting and hoping to leave the Flores up, or at the very least, well, actually, they weren't even the ones to ban out that mute. Aqualix did.
Aqualix did, yeah.
They're allowed to use that Flores to its fullest extent, so those Goyo shields likely won't be all that long for that world, and defense will have to keep their eyes on the floor watching for those Rotero drones.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like bringing Flores at this point is almost like bringing a Thatcher in a sense. Not like quite the same, but it's a way to bypass a lot of these, these ADSs.
For some setups, yes.
Yeah, and sometimes like these Midas, these ADSs can easily bypass. Of course, if Mute's off the board too, and you saw they banned, it was Aqualix banned Mute. I'm not sure if that was they expect that to happen. Maybe they're going to use Flores too on the attack. But it's interesting to see maybe if how are they going, if they know it's going to happen and Flores is going to be played out very well, how are they going to make sure these shields don't get destroyed with Mute ban and only having a Mozzie available? And they're not even bringing Mozzie too. So these Rotero drones should have no issue blowing up every single shield inside a Freezer, inside a Pixel, wherever they are. And the question now is, how quickly can Livid now clear this roam with those tools available to them?
Also have a fair bit of utility on the board. Even let's say Omega gets peaked right now and suddenly he dies and those Rotero drones are no longer a factor. Livid still have plenty of utility to deal with it. The Impact Lifelines, Yana's entire kit, as well as Sovereign with 2 frag grenades in his pocket. Even if Omega dies, they are still more than capable of dealing with it, especially since there's no Wamai on the side of Aqualix. All they have is the Jaeger and his ADSs. So Livid are primed to counter this exact style of setup. But of course, we've seen teams with the exact setup either at their disposal or brought still find themselves stalled out. A minute in, Kento playing aggressively on that Pixel shield, but the Goyo shield falls and forces him to rotate off. He'll play back further by White. There's still a couple shields and, well, a couple more players to deal with on this extension up top, and the Rotero drone, it deals with the other Goyo shield. So minute 15 in, Bladder's entire kit, aside from that C4, entirely dealt with.
Yeah, it's interesting too because Gasher didn't bring a shield, so well, actually no, someone else brought a shield. Wait, it said? Oh no, the Echo of Discover brought a shield, so they could have 4 shields, but only had 3. All 3 shields are now destroyed due to the Rotero drones and the Gon 6. Earlier we saw that Kento fights first. He takes a Sovereign, he takes another 2 kills. He finally gets traded out, and Zito gets another trade on the Rethinking, who peeks after him. So what could have been maybe a 1-for-2 deal for Kento becomes a 2-for-2, even it out.
That was a ballsy 3-man push up White, but they kind of lined up for Xeno a little bit. It wasn't exactly the hardest, especially when all the defenders were hugging each other on Pixel. Now they've rotated off. They certainly have wasted some time, and they've taken down the Sledge and the Thermite. The former of which being the main source of soft destruction on the side of Livid. Don't know, okay? I was about to say, don't know if Whitlock brought breach charges, but he did. Still a bit of a riskier position, and also you just have less soft destruction at your disposal. So you have to get those breach charges down, which they have 45 seconds left, so plenty of time to do it. A C4 placed up top as well, used by the defense, so they don't have to watch their feet too hard anymore. Of course, they have to be wary of any defender peeking up top, and that's exactly what Zeno loses his life to. Not a player peeking up top through the floor, but peeking up top on white stairs. Gasher tries to retake, succeeds, and then rotates back once he's put the bomb on the floor. Whitlock very narrowly takes the head off of Omega. A quick, nervous reaction by the rookie player, and understandable. 20 seconds left, still up top. Defense eager to try and retake this. Discover watching the laundry hatch can easily take down Whitlock the moment the Zofia drops. He'll put a bullet hole on top, but instead he gives his life away. Whitlock's able to fall, take the head of the Echo off, and the bladder follows as well. Gasher still holds up top. Omega might have to go for the frags. That's the exact reality he finds himself in with 000 hit. Gasher, how is he going to play this? He'll drop the hatch. Intel at his disposal, but Omega gets the plan off successfully. He puts his back to him, and Gasher will manage to seal it out. Knifes Whitlock as well. A triple for the smoke. The IGL of Aqualix will take the first defensive round for his team.
Whoa, what a back and forth, but Gasher, big part there, giving his team the man advantage by walking up right, flanking when nobody expected him to. The early round, it was still 2v2, and it was a 3v3 with those 2 kills both being traded out, with Kento getting those 2 big kills. And then obviously there was the refrag by Rethinking, or onto Rethinking, which gave it a 3v3, but still, it was almost scary there because Whitlock getting that kill onto the player in laundry of the Echo of Discover makes it a 1v2. But still big from Gasher to then kill Whitlock, wait for the time to go down so he can still, walks in right in as he finishes the defuse, or finishes penetrating the diffuser, gets the kill onto the last player and goes to disable. Big stuff from Aqualix, but still close. Still very close. It was almost a pretty good roam clear from the side of Livid.
And that's the thing, is that time they managed to waste, they were losing so much utility, but that play up White Hallway into Pixel, that is what delayed so much time for Livid. Sure, Zeno got those 2 refrags, and they eventually rotated back down, but that play by Gasher is only possible when there's that little time remaining, and Whitlock is managed to get down. So starting out by Aqualix, looked a little bit shaky throughout, but still coming away with it. That's what we like to see. They'll move up to Cocktail, and it's defended, or at the very least looks defended in a similar way. Because you have that extension from Reading Room to the top floor, you'll see a lot of similarities and a fair bit of overlap. But in this case, it's no Goyo. You do still have 2 deployable shields, one in the hands of Kento, the other in the hands of Discover. You'll still see 1 Pixel, in all likelihood see 1 Bathroom as well. But you might see it in a different spot. In fact, I don't believe we do. You just have some maroony punch holes made on that wall, but it is still a fair bit of overlap between that. So the question is, with those Rotero drones on the board, will that first point of contact for Aqualix fall just as quickly as it did last time? Or do they have a plan to try and minimize the Flores?
The last time too, like the Gon 6 as well was also just destroyed the first shield too. So I'm not sure how much they're really pinning on keeping these shields up, or if they're just expecting them to destroy them and making sure they can just waste utility on those endeavors. Could be true, hard to say. But what is the plan here for the side of Livid to make this attack happen? Obviously, if they're walking into Christmas and making that normal stage, it's going to be walking into what Aqualix expects. So especially too, there's a Mozzie of Vladder downstairs with the C4 inside a train. There he goes out. There's a Mozzie Pest. Take one of the drones, and that's the biggest thing, is taking control intel and denying those Rotero drones. Though at this point, 1 Pest taking 1 of 1 that's not available for those Rotero drones to jump in. And Vladder, though, he has information now with those drones available.
Does have a bit of intel at his disposal. Omega will not only try to collect a little bit of intel himself, but also try to go for a little bit of utility destruction. Sneaks under little overhang, or the very least underhang at the bottom of that Aruna gate, but it's spotted by Rethinking playing behind that shield. So already, Rotero drones are not having the same amount of success as they did last time, with a fair bit of utility at the very front of Aqualix's defense. With the Rotero drone planned in, now Rethinking has to rotate off. They do still have to burn that Aruna gate to get entrance inside of Cigar. But look at this fallback by Kento. There's not a shield inside a bathroom, placed directly outside with the Aruna gate as well. It gives him a long angle, albeit a tight one. Not a lot you can, at the very least, do with that beyond this immediate line of sight, but it does still provide a strong fallback position. And Aqualix, the amount of layers and tiers to their defensive setup on Kafe is impressive, to say the least. It goes on through, so the shield isn't long, but as Kento gets the kill on the fall off, taking down the Yana, that's all you needed to do in the first 2 minutes.
That's huge. It's a good start for Aqualix to get that first pick on a Xeno. And otherwise, though, Vlad trying to get some angles from below onto somebody inside of Christmas. They should have destroyed that second shield inside Waterhall, so that pushes back Kento. But still, look at time. There's still only 50, well, there's only 56 left to go. And as Whitlock just walks out in the bar, or not Whitlock, Discover just walks out in the bar and gets picked up by Whitlock. Unfortunate, I'm not sure what the plan there was. They were opening up the freeze wall, so I'm assuming at that point, Discover had to, retreat or at least do something with his life. And a run out from me thinking, though, he gets Omega. There's no Claymore or anything to stop a run out from White Stairs. So far, the picks are going in favor of Aqualix, and the time is not looking good for Livid. Carnage B goes down, and Gasher. Kento gets another on the Sovereign. It's just Whitlock by himself, and Gasher finishes him off. Aqualix with another round.
Such a great setup by Aqualix overall. That shield, Kento then falls back. You still have that angle. It gets destroyed. Kento's able to land a kill on the fall off. Beautifully played by Aqualix overall. Great wasting time. Great maneuvering around the Flores, just staving it off a little bit longer on that pixel hold. Aqualix's two defensives so far, especially this most recent one, have looked very, very solid. That was something we were missing a little bit on Consulate of last week. So starting out on a good note for a team that has a lot to prove, especially after that loss last week.
I'll say the layers of defense is huge. The fact that they're understanding that they're going to lose those front shields, they're going to lose that front part. Create layers, create that backup, create a place where we can fall back to. Of course, Discover, he was a bit of a hard place. He was playing in Freezer with no shield or anything, so when the wall finally gets opened up, he has to either, try and retreat and maybe get cut off on that rotation or make an aggressive play. So because he's aggressive, he loses his life, unfortunately. But still, the last players on Aqualix, last four, are able to hold their angles, take out the rest of the players in Livid, who were already waste so much time dealing with the utility, and they had to walk in through those very observable angles that they had already known about. So they just rocking gunfights. They lose them all, giving Aqualix a round. Great job for Aqualix. And Livid, not so well. They're not doing so great on this, waste efficiency when it comes to, getting rid of this utility and make their way to site. And once more, now we're going to kitchen for the first time. And of course, you can see Aqualix creating a roam, having the Banshees and everything to their name, and they're going to try and hold off, at least on the second floor, for as long as possible.
Pulse as well, they'll certainly have the intel at their disposal to hold on for as long as they can, of course. That is assuming Rethinking doesn't get caught out. Prepping the mining window. Doubt he'll jump out of it. He's just making it a bit easier to either jump out later on or whatever he's doing. He's not going anything aggressive early on, as after all, Flatter is on this roster. That's his job, to go for these early peeks out that window. Won't find anybody just yet. He'll rotate on back, and that's good. You won't lose a major player in your setup with that C4 and the mechanical skill that currently compromises Flatter's position in this round. Don't want to lose him, even though he's continuing to get aggressive on this white window. There is one player now, upside down repel. They might have some intel on his position, as a Z-ping indicates it. It's Whitlock currently. If he peeks out his head, he might very well find himself in the sights of the Roni.
Oh, Whitlock, patient pays off. He patiently waits for Gasher to peek from below. He does get the kill. C4, the windowsill, unfortunately a bit too low, and Whitlock hears it coming. He'll back up more and then resume his position on that window. Vlad's still above. He gets droned out finally, and Vlee thinking he has intel, because he said before, the pulse is big here, and Vlad just peeks out, finds Sovereign, unaware of Vlad's presence, and he'll go down. The trade happens. 1-for-1, lose your sledge for a smoke, which I'm not sure we consider that a trade or not, or whose advantage is that in. And Kento just waiting for a peek. He has information we're thinking. Can he get this kill?
Carnage B clearly has information on Vladder, and get the kill the Thermite does. That Mozzie now falls, but there's still quite a roam presence from Aqualix. After all of this, you had Gasher, you had Vladder, but now you still have Rethinking and Kento. But it looks like they're contemplating a rotate back. Discover even pushing up those red stairs just a little bit. He'll be the first to move back down. Rethinking pushes the issue inside a pillar, but it's quickly thrown in his face. 1 HP, the Pulse now finds himself on. He's in a prime spot to rotate, but that leaves Kento a little bit out to dry. Sitting inside of Reading, they'll spot him at the last second. He destroys the drone, but Whitlock knows his position. Discover will push up, try to help him out. He spots the kneecap of Omega and puts him on the floor. As Kento manages to work himself out of a terrible situation, he sees the final man. He takes down 2 of them. It's Karn left in a 1v3, effectively with Omega on the floor. But all the defenders are upstairs. They'll have to start rotating down. There is one currently on the site, another on red stairs. So they have accounted for this, and Discover has the angle necessary on Karn, but he lets him pass. He lets him take down his teammate, and now Karn has made his way into the site. Do they have any vertical holes to deal with this? No, it looks like they doesn't. This is a retake with 34 seconds left, and Karn should be able to get the bomb down successfully. With it, about 38 seconds left. Aqualix have to push in. They're all pushing from this double door. That's an easy angle for Karn to hold. They're the ones that have to land the pre-fire or gain the intel. A quick peek from Discover. He loses his life, but Karn's not looking the right way. Kento's able to seal him out, defuse the bomb, and it's 3 rounds in a row for Aqualix.
Oh, what a round from the side of Aqualix. Close, but no cigar. It was actually a really good roam clear too. I just let him die. Yeah, let him die. It was a really good roam clear on the side of Livid, able to get those kills, put themselves in the lead, but they could not really clear out the people inside of Reading. A second floor hold by the Melusi of Kento and other members who are playing by him, rethinking as well. It became such a bloodbath in those regards. They downed, there was that one player who walks up Brown, downs Omega, who was sitting in cave. They saw his kneecap, downs him. 2 people were down, going down white stairs, trying to push the person in front of Reading. There was no real pinch coming out on that player, so unfortunately they start that round out great, but the mid round from Livid just was not there.
It definitely seems in that mid round specifically, there is intel lacking on the side of Livid. But even in the early round as well, you had that 3-man push up white, but I wouldn't even say that's a lack of intel on the side of Livid, and that round specifically, but so far, Aqualix, when they're given any room at all, they're almost like water, filling the cracks in a canyon. They move, they find every single nook and crevice to work their way into, and that's exactly what happens. Sometimes it's from a lack of intel. That play up round stairs, as you just mentioned, finding the kneecap of the Flores and putting Omega on the floor. In that first round, not necessarily finding a lack of intel on the side of Livid, but finding a small 5-second window where they might be able to make a play. Sure, it's risky, but it managed to pay off. Aqualix, they're trying to find opportunities, and if there's none, they make them for themselves, and that's been their strong point on the defense so far. Livid, if their goal is to try and minimize that lack of intel you mentioned, that's the first thing they should remedy.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that sometimes they had, well, they had the intel on the Melusi, but like the plan didn't come together to pinch out the Melusi of Kento. Like they know he was pushing, he was inside of Reading. I guess they didn't expect him to play aggressive and swing the Reading door. There's no pinch coming through. Like I guess Omega may have been that player, but Omega was by himself and no one can refrag the person on Brown who sees his knee over in cave. So a little bit, maybe a little bit oversight, a little bit of slip up from the side of Livid on that play. But we'll go to Reading and Dining once more for the side of Aqualix. Last time it was a 2 for 2. Start us off. 2 for 2 kills. Kento getting aggressive. And in the end, they could not make that execute happen, though, because of just some great plays and what time wasted on the side of Aqualix's side.
We'll also see I wouldn't say a new form of time wasting, but at the very least something a little bit different. Vladder, I don't believe he was on the Cade in round number 1, correct, Benny?
No, he was not on the Cade.
Just want to check.
No.
I did not believe he was.
No.
He put an electroclaw on that freezer wall, so that will not make opening up those walls obviously easier than it would be before. It also makes the impact of those Rotero drones or those nades from Xeno really just makes coordination a much bigger priority to clear out this. You can't just simply put an exothermic on it or what have you to open up the wall. Now you have to take a lot more time to clear that out. And on top of that, they still have that deployable shield from Discover. Vladder also contesting this angle if he's not read out, and that lack of intel from Livid pulls through or carries on forward, could not be unread playing inside of Shaiko.
Oh yeah, playing Shaiko is Vladder could get some cues. He has a C4 to his name as well, so you may want to keep that for later. But yeah, at this point, Livid's main task is destroy these shields as per usual. Make sure they can push these members back. There is another shield behind them, but there's still a person inside a freezer expecting that wall to be opened up. Has a shield pointing toward the freezer Christmas wall. At this point, Vladder, he was playing Shaiko. He's going to back off the moment back to site. We're thinking now, kind of in an island by himself. I'm not sure if he can even rotate out of freezer at this point without getting caught off if someone's playing Skylight. But nobody is there for the moment. Looks like they're still joining, figuring out what's going on. And at this point, really, it should be at least a rotate. There's a rotate out of freezer, but I wonder if he can make it out alive.
It could be a little bit risky, but at the very least, he does have an avenue. He is not fully trapped in there. His avenues are not solely relegated to those doorways. Could be worse, could be better, but either way, he has a pathway out. He also has support, 2 members playing directly behind him, Kento and Vladder respectively, all in those positions. And from Livid, it looks like they're not even opting to clear out this roam upstairs. The exothermic placed on one of the dining walls, it just appears they're executing from red stairs, from train, into dining. You do have some semblance of coverage upstairs, but it's quickly dispatched by Kento as he swings on out. Finds Omega on stage, that's the opening pick in the favor of Aqualix. A second as well as rethinking, gets Sovereign, switches to the pistol, isn't able to land the third. Voidlock has managed to trade it out. But this roam upstairs, it's still ever present by Aqualix. Undealt with by Livid, this execute inside of train and into dining is much more difficult.
And they still have control upstairs too. It looks like Omega was trying to take control of Christmas so they can make this happen. But that coverage doesn't happen. Whitlock gets another kill to even it out onto Kento. But still, this looks to be a train into dining push. And if they have control of upstairs in Christmas, they can create those vertical holes and try and deal with these players or drop down on them in the instant they go for that plant. Though it seems like Xeno's trying to push up white. Gasher's going to use a smoke to deny this late game flank from Xeno. Oh, Gasher walks into 90, takes out Whitlock. Got a Karn run of his own, but Gasher refracts Karn immediately. His last person left is Xeno, all by himself on white stairs. At this point, Xeno's going to walk up and take a fight on a lying down Gasher with a shotgun. Unfortunately, the shotgun, perfect range for it. He'll down and finish off Xeno. And at that point, that's another round for Aqualix.
Oh, Benny? I'm getting worried a little bit that our predictions are about to go 0-2 solely siding with one team. Based on the way Aqualix are playing. Of course, it's Kafe defenses. Yeah, maybe, you know, Livid have looked solid, which they have. That's one thing I will say. It's not like Livid have looked completely lost. It's just once they've started gaining the momentum, Aqualix are not letting up on the gas whatsoever. Constantly in their face, constantly fighting for retakes. And Livid, the gunfights also aren't going their way. Whitlock tried his best in that round to bring it back, single-handedly brought it to a 3v3 after both Kento and Vladder secured 2 kills. Or sorry, Kento and Rethinkin secured 2 kills. But even at that point, top control is still in the hands of the defense. Kento's allowed to play inside a cigar, and everyone on the site has not been removed. Once the 2 players in train fall, there's nothing Xeno can do. He has to push up white into the close angle of a shotgun, or push up red, where there's a heavy defender presence. The moment they entered 1v3,
Omega was by himself inside of Christmas. Like, he just kind of repelled in there by himself.
I mean, they were just trying to hold down the angle. It's clear that they weren't actively trying to push them. Omega was just sent up to hold it, but with 3 defenders up top, it's incredibly risky to send him by himself.
Yeah, and there's nobody playing red. They hadn't taken control of red. They were walking up red. Nobody's on the hatch. So that allowed for players to push red to get a crossfire on Omega sitting on stage. So, I don't know, Livid making some, not really mistakes, but making calls that unfortunately are being read by Aqualix, and they're able to read around them, get angles that you wouldn't expect, and able to kill these players who isolated out on the attacking side. So, we'll go once more. We'll go upstairs once again. And last time we had this defense, Aqualix were just, I would say masterful, but they wasted so much time. They had that one shield playing Pixel, they had another shield playing Whitehall, and that Whitehall shield had a great angle from bathroom onto the players pushing into Christmas, which was a great angle for Kento to play last time. And unfortunately, even though they just finally destroyed those shields, it was way too late. They didn't have the manpower utility to push onto site, and really, they're walking into the light sight lines of Aqualix, who at that point were able to take those gunfights, win them, and take the round.
We do see a bit of an adjustment here, though, Benny. Livid, and they've foregone that Flores. 4 rounds, it hasn't been the saving grace. They've moved Omega to the Lion, and if you're trying to catch the players off, as you destroy these shields and force them to rotate back, an EU1D going out simultaneously with the push is the perfect way to do that. I say that right as Xeno sends a nade on through, and with no EU1D, allows Rethinking to rotate back, but you still have Kento playing in this spot. But it's going to be a little bit harder to remove and take down Kento on the flank if all they have is this cigar control. If nobody goes top white window, they basically have free reign to rotate on back, even with an EU1D. Despite that, Livid do still have a fair bit of map control. They've made their way into Cigar, and they have cleared out Pixel. It's just still that long angle from Kento leering at the defense, or leering at the offense, and staring them down.
Yeah, last time Kento was able to get some great kills here and just whittle them down as they approach the site. This time, so he's looking to do it again. He gets that first kill on Omega again. It's just, he's whittling the attackers down, taking out utility, making it more and more difficult as they try to take him out. And look at the time. There's only a minute left on the round. Livid at this point, and Gash with another one to Carge B. There goes. Gasher gets 2. He walks in a cigar, and the person at Skylight can't refrag him or cover him at all. So Gasher has a gun unnoticed, running through into Cigar, getting those kills. Finally sees his foot. Sovereign will finish him off, but at what cost? It's now a 2v4 with 50 seconds left to go. There's really nothing to the name of the players on the Livid. They have a grenade and a couple grenades, a couple stop breaching, but otherwise they have really no control.
I mean, yeah, 40 seconds left. Sure, you have those 2 nades, but what exactly are you going to do with them? The longer you take, and now that those nades are gone, it's Xeno in a clutch situation once again. As soon as he peeks out, Kento takes him down. That's another 3K for him, maybe even a 4K, no, a 3K. Gasher with a 2-piece, and a 5-0 scoreline for Aqualix so far. And I just have to say, absolutely brutal timing for Xeno on that Skylight. Looks away at the exact wrong moment. Allows Gasher to rotate, get a 2-piece for Aqualix.
I don't call it
That's
rotate. I call it just a
brutal.
walk in. It's just a
Oh, I mean,
drive by.
yeah, but oh my, look at that scoreboard, Betty.
Yeah, that was a drive by. Like
That is absurd.
Gasher just drives by, walks in a cigar, like, hey, how's it going, guys? You had cover? Wait, there's someone covering you guys? Really? Where?
Battlefield 4 Kento and Leg Gasher showing up big.
Yeah,
They are
this is.
going
I guess
massive
this
here.
is what, like, Cookies was talking about when he pumped up Aqualix back on that pre-show back a while ago. That,
Hey, if this was the Aqualix that Cookies had in mind, I get what he's talking about now. I absolutely get what he's talking about.
Because last week we were all very confused why Cookies was so confident in Aqualix, but now, hey, we're seeing why he was confident in this play so far. And Livid, unfortunately, we were all hoping and we were all confident that this new team would pose to far in. It's been some close rounds. We've had some close rounds with Livid, but so far they haven't been a close round yet, and they've been falling for this utility game. These peaks, this well-timed peaks, well-timed aggression, along with utility from the side of Aqualix that proved so well for them. As we go into our last defense from Aqualix and Kitchen, can they bring it back?
By the way, Benny, just a fun stat.
What's up?
5 rounds so far. Kento has gotten the opening pick in 4 of them.
Yeah, I have the stat. I lost that one round where he got that pick, but it looks like, yeah, I was correct. He's gotten 4, and Whitlock only got 1 so far for them, unfortunately.
Also, that first round was a 2-piece.
Oh, yeah, no, Kento's been crazy. Kento on
Kento's
that
been
video,
playing
he
out of
just
his
walks in at Christmas and takes out 2. Like, what?
I don't know. Either way, Aqualix, they are on something. And honestly, I almost feel a little bit disservice. We had that game against Nocturnes last week, and this Aqualix didn't even seem present. Or at the very least, this Kento and this Gasher weren't present, but maybe they just needed one Playday to heat up, and now they are certainly eaten up, so cannot flame them for that. They are performing out of their minds today. Now Livid will make their way in through the bottom floor. It is a kitchen site, as we mentioned earlier. Looks like they're taking this over from Bakery side, not playing into the roam, at the very least as early, not going for a full clear. I might see a little bit of a late rotate later on, or not a late rotate, but we might see Sovereign move up to try to land some soft destruction. But at the very least right now, letting the defenders sit up top, but with a pulse and rethinking, we're laying free intel from that second floor. Bit of dramatic irony, but Aqualix have the upper hand.
Yeah, at this point, Rethinking's given info. He knows 2 are in Bakery. I guess the question is where are the rest of the attackers pushing from so they don't get caught off guard. 1's outside of Small Bakery, 2 are inside Bakery itself. And they've opened up these holes into site. They've opened these holes into prep. And there's the flank. There's the hit it from the back a little bit from here. And there's the intel. It's Zeno. He tries to walk in bar, but Discover reads it. He's getting intel from Rethinking, but there's at least a refrag from Sovereign onto Discover. At this point, Sovereign's kind of by himself on the side, though. So if those players from above return to site, they could overwhelm Sovereign playing bar.
Gasher's also in danger of being overwhelmed. Without the support of Kento, the only other member with double digits alongside Gasher, he might very well be left alone. EE1D is coming in, flashbangs as well, but Rethinking's there to try and save the round. Takes down Omega, that's the Lion, gets a second as well. Vladder picks up for a third, and it's a 6-0 half for Aqualix. The moment things started turning against them, everyone left alive shows up, and we're on match point. And it feels like it's been 5 minutes.
These have been some quick, I wouldn't say it's been 5 minutes, but these have been quick end of rounds. We get to this mid half where for the first exchange happens, the first gunfight happens, and then it just plops off from there. It decides going on. People start getting kills, people start getting aggressive, and so far Aqualix are showing us they know how to play this. They know Kafe pretty well, and they're peaking at perfect times when Livid are not ready for it. Sovereign had a good start there. He was able to get that refrag, able to get secure another kill on a flanker. Had control of bar, but he was by himself, and the players who were pushing, Small Bakery, unfortunately could not win the fight against the players playing red stairs, or maybe the players who were pushing in sight couldn't take out Gasher, who was on the Maestro, who's sitting on site. So it just seems like not only utility-wise, but gunplay-wise too, like Aqualix are ready every single time in these rounds. But we'll go on to the defense of Livid. We'll go upstairs first, and the mirror was never used. The mirror is available. We'll see if that gives Livid the edge to, maybe bring them back in this half.
Bomb located by attackers.
Maybe. Mira is exceptionally strong on Kafe, and with the right operators alongside her can be a absolutely lethal force to be reckoned with. You have some Goyo to burn the utility, Yokais as well, if you're able to stall enough time up top, or on this roam as well. I suppose side is up top, but if you're able to stall time up top, but on the forward, play the reinforcements inside a bathroom, Pixel as well, those Yokais could be could be huge. You have 2 C4s as well, so you can play from below. For final round, the setup is, or for the final round, the setup is solid from Livid to try and counter out the aggression, or the likely aggression from Aqualix. But it also looks like that Aqualix, maybe they're reading into that a little bit. Ladders on a buck, that signals a cocktail take, and a lot of that utility, it's on that cocktail side.
Shots coming in from White's window and from the White Hall window. They're trying to pre-fire anybody playing inside of, Pixel, playing, pallets. Nobody's playing there for the moment, though. Playing bathroom, and then one mirror pointing from, of course, from that cocktail wall pointing towards bar. Where is the second mirror? Oh, it looks like the second mirror is placed facing freezer. Inevitably knowing that they can open up that freezer wall and they can pressure them and stop them from pushing in the freezer with this mirror. These two Goyo shields, of course, is Vulcan shields. There's no Momai, so these Jaegers should be easily dealt with, and they should be able to get those Goyo shields destroyed pretty quickly, especially having the floors available on Gasher. So drones come out. First one's destroyed. The drone now who's in bathroom, and that second Rotero drone's coming in to destroy that second Vulcan shield. And there it is. So both are destroyed within the first mid 15 seconds. Looking pretty good for Aqualix.
Whitlock's still holding strong, peeking that white window, playing a little bit aggressive, but he's just holding these angles to help out his team, make sure that no member of Aqualix peeks their head and goes undefeated. C4 flies out, and there was somebody there, but we think it accounted for that and backed on down, and it's Kento. The opening pick, his 5th one of the match so far, and it's on to Whitlock. One of the only members, in fact, the only member of Livid to rear their head in an opening engagement. He's the first to go for what could potentially be the final round for Livid's CL debut. Discover moving to Nubauk, no defender, peeking just yet. Time is still in the hands of Livid. They have a C4, the Yokais as well, though one spotted alone, hung out to dry inside of Cigar. It's not... Aqualix are not out of the woods yet. There's still plenty that Livid can do to try and counter this, but with this mirror window dealt with, Xeno's position much more uncomfortable. The tide is starting to turn. With a flank from Omega, he finds one, not able to find the second. That could have been the turnaround for Livid, but it's still Aqualix in the lead.
Unfortunately, he could not make that play. Only one person down. He could not even up the man count. Xeno at this point can't play. He tries to get on top, but they're watching the mirror window. Discover gets a kill, walks in the bar. He tries to work for it. He gets another person rotating through and rethinking, gets last kill. And it's Aqualix 7-0. Another one-sided game on our hands.
A one-sided game indeed. A flawless victory from Aqualix.